Alright, in this next step, once you got the glass taped up and out of your way, get your socket, and you can go ahead and remove these. You don't remove all 4 of them, you actually remove 2 on this side, and you just have to loosen up these 2. And the reason why you got to remove these all the way is because on these outer ones there's an actual cutout that you can just loosen and slide the regulator up out of, and these are mounted all the way straight through, so these ones have to come out. So once you get these 2 out, there's one, set that bolt aside. Get this one out, set that bolt aside. Just loosen the other 2. You don't have to pull them all the way out, just back them out a little bit. Back those out, and then these ones on this side, you have to actually remove all the way as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Set that aside. Do this one out here. Set that aside. We loosened these ones already. And after that, once you get all that done, you gotta go to this connector up here. This is actually the electrical connector for the motor. So there's a tab here you're supposed to push down on and pull out. The clip is actually supposed to stay in there, but we got to remove the clip anyway, so you can just pull out on that. You see here there's a white clip right here. Push on both ends of it and just push it out of its spot, just like that. And we'll go to the next step. Alright, once you got the electrical plug unplugged and unclipped off, put it inside the door. What you want to do is get to these bolts that we loosened up earlier, and you need to lift up on the bolts and push them out, and then your regulator will come out of its spots. And this is where you need to pull the regulator out. You can get your hands on it and just fish it out. And sometimes it's tricky, but move it around, get it to better angles, and you can get it out. And there's your window regulator. That's how you remove it. Alright, when you're putting your new regulator in, make sure you got your 2 screws in here. They're not tightened down all the way. Just set them in there. Don't send them all the way through, because what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna put the regulator into the door, and in these holes we need to bring it up and we'll hook them into its spots, and that's how we'll keep the regulator up in there while we line up all the other mounting holes. So what you want to do is send it back through this way, send it back in there, get your hand in from the other side, the upper hole. You can hold it while you line this thing up, and you can see how the bolts are actually coming back out of their original spots. And we just slide it back into its spot, and that holds the regulator into the door while we put everything else back together. So next step after that, what you need to do is get all the bolts that you set aside that came out, which were these 10mm bolts. They're all about the same length, so you don't have to worry about mix matching or anything like that. Set one in there. Always make sure you hand tight these things from the beginning so you're not cross threading anything. Make sure you grab the threads on the actual window regulator before you start to force them down in. Once you got these 4 in there, you can also go ahead and put the other 2 that are on this side. Now if you see here, there's a little bracket, swings back and forth. So what you want to do is just swing it up, line it up, put those bolts back in there, one here and one on this side here. Now this one has an adjustment. On this side has adjustment. This one's straight. There's actually no adjustment on this one, but on this side there is an adjustment on the bolt. Either you can go high or low. Factory is usually right in the center. So if you got a good regulator, you can just put it right in the center. And then you can go ahead and tighten them all down with your ratchet. I'll do that now. There we go. Regulator's back down. Now what you need to do is fish the electrical plug back out of there, so you can stick your hand through this hole. Put your hand back there. You can find it. It's this 4-wire plug here. Now there's 2 holes right here. You see this white one that we pulled out earlier needs to go back into the lower one, and this one that has a red clip needs to go into the upper one. And this is your electrical connector that goes in there. It's a 4-wire. You just put that guy back in there, push it right in. Your regulator's back in. Next step is just to lower the glass down and put the regulator and the glass together. Alright, this next step is once you got the regulator all mounted down, you can actually pull your tape off, discard that, and then slide this glass back down into position. Straight like that, and then we'll go ahead and connect the glass and the regulator back together. Once you got the tape off the glass and it's back down, what you need to do is, if you look down here, we still got our bolts in the glass. What we need to do is slide it into here. So what you need to do is slide the glass down, and it pops into place like that because the hole is bigger. So you need to put it through that hole and slide it that way so it locks into place. Just make sure you're doing it on both sides, because both sides have the same exact setup. So make sure the other side is in the same way. Get down here and look at it. And we're locked in. So both sides are locked in just like that. And now we're able to tighten those screws up. Get your ratchet. Go ahead and tighten this one down. Tighten this one down. And you're pretty much all set. The glass and the regulator are mounted together. The regulator is mounted to the door. Got your electrical connector plugged in up here. Everything's set. You're ready to put the panel back on. All right, once you got that all done, get your panel back up here. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna connect these connectors here. This 3-wire white one, this one here is actually to the door handle, so I like to set that one kind of further away from me so I don't get that mixed up. And these 3 here are actually to the switch. One goes to the mirror control, and these 2 go to the switch. And so we need to connect those. Just put the blue one in. It's a little tricky. Not looking in there, but let me get mine. All right, we got that one in. Put this one in, and we'll put the smaller one in. Once you got these 3 done, you need to move over to the other side. And there's the light and that one electrical switch that needs to be plugged in. We'll go ahead and do that now. Grab the light. The light actually just twists in. Be careful. If your door's been open for a while, the light actually might be hot. So after you get that one plugged back in, put this one in here. Like that. Alright, once you got everything plugged in, you got your light, plug here, and the plug's in the switch. You gotta put the panel back on. What you want to do is got your lock rod over here, and there's a hole that it goes through. That's actually what you're gonna want to put on. But the first thing is, see this rail on the door right here? This upper rail right here. The door panel actually has to hook into that, or has to be on the back side of it. So what the first thing is, over here on this right corner, you need to hook that into that, and as you bring it down, you need to line up this hole. So we'll do that now. See, we hooked it back here behind that. We'll bring it down, and see, now it's getting hung up on that rod. We actually need to line that thing up with the hole. See, we get it to pull out that way. And once you get it in there, you can actually just snap the panel back into its clips. The panel's back in. All right, once you got the panel back in place, here's an electrical connector that needs to be sticking out. Make sure you don't leave it inside the panel when you put the panel back on, because it needs to be out here. So what we want to do first is actually plug it in, and you got these 3 hooks here. There's actual cutouts on the doors. We need to put those in there and slide it in, but first we need to get this rod over here into this clip, into this spot. So this one's a little tricky to do. Put the rod, slide it into that hole, and then you got to actually push this clip back over until it locks into place, and it locks that rod down so it can't come out no more. And then we're able to actually put this handle back into its spot like that, and then we'll push it that way to lock it. And so the actual door handle is locked in place now. Now we can put the 2 mounting screws, one here, one over there. Put this cover up here, and we'll finish up this job. Let me grab the screwdriver. Grab your Phillips screwdriver. Grab the screw that you pulled out of there. Just drive it back into its spot. And you might have a little plastic cover that covers it up. Go ahead and just cover that up. Next, get your second screw. Put it back down into this hole. Snug that down. That's in its place. That's in its place. Alright, once you got the handle and those screws in, next thing you do is put these 2 in. This clip here just goes up here, just pushes right in. You can go ahead and do that. Push that one in. That one's done. This one here, it's got a little lip over here, and this is actually the bottom. So it actually got to go on the inside of the door panel. So, and then it's got its 2 clips here. So what you want to do is just put it in here, snap it in place, and make sure that's on the other side, and your job's done.